Everyone wants to ascend until ascension begins ascending. The random aches and pains, the ringing ears, waking up at 3 in the morning, feeling like the grocery store has gotten too loud, foods that you've eaten your entire life suddenly saying absolutely not. You may begin wondering, am I losing my freaking mind? Friend, you're not losing your mind. What if you're stepping into 5D consciousness? What if you're remembering your true self? Don't fight it. Fall into it. One of the most well-known experiences of accessing fifth dimensional consciousness is this. Your intuition becomes louder because your nervous system has become quieter. Today, we're talking about 9 well and lesser known signs of entering 5D consciousness, why they happen, and how I've personally learned to navigate them with a little more grace. I'm Sarah Sigma, and this is another Activate Your Magic bonus episode where we're healing our nervous systems one simple practice at a time so we can remember who we truly are and live our most harmonic lives. Stay with me. Before we jump in, I want to make one thing clear. These are my understandings. They're inspired by years of my own experiences, teachings from mystics like Sonia Choquette, who inspired this video here, and countless conversations within the awakening community. My understanding is that consciousness isn't somewhere we permanently arrive. It's more like something that we learn to embody more consistently the more we experience. Personally, I experience 5D as my home frequency. I still move through the third dimension. I still pay bills. I still experience grief. I still get irritated more often than I'd like. I'm human. The difference is I no longer live there. I visit. Then I return to coherence, where I once allowed my emotions and thoughts to lead until they ran out of fuel. I now notice quickly through being present and mindfulness and take the necessary steps to return to center within a few minutes instead of the hours or days that it once took to 3D me. If that's where you find yourself, these signs may feel incredibly familiar. Sign 1. You keep waking up at 3 a.m. Raise your hand if this one has happened. Every single night, you glance at the clock. 2:47. 3:03. 3:18. 3:33. Again, aside from medical conditions, stress, hormones, medications, or environmental factors, which are always worth considering, I noticed something fascinating. The quieter the world became, the louder spirit became. 3 in the morning often is one of the quietest times on the planet, no matter your location. There are fewer distractions, fewer Wi-Fi signals broadcasting, less energetic traffic, less mental noise. It becomes much easier to receive. For nearly a year, I've naturally arisen between 2 and 3 a.m. Instead of resisting it, I became curious. Sometimes I meditate, sometimes I journal, sometimes I simply receive the downloads that later may or may not turn into episodes for What the Frequency. Instead of asking, why can't I sleep? I now ask, what am I being invited to receive or to sit with or to remember? Don't force yourself to stay awake. Don't force yourself back to sleep either. Listen. Your body knows. Sign 2. Ear ringing. Who else has experienced this? That sudden in one ear? Or both? It comes out of nowhere, then disappears just as quickly. Our ears are our most intuitive physical sense. When our frequency shifts, many people describe becoming increasingly aware of subtle energetic information. Again, if ear ringing becomes persistent, painful, or concerning, it's always wise to have it medically evaluated. But if you've already done that, or you know it's not that serious, don't panic. Notice what you were thinking, feeling, talking about, or doing the moment it began. Often, you'll begin recognizing patterns. Your angels, guides, your higher self, your intuition. Communication becomes much easier when we become still enough to receive the transmission. Sign 3. Random aches, pains, and illnesses. Sometimes your body whispers before it shouts. Random body aches, fatigue, feeling like you've been hit by a bus, only to wake up completely fine the next day. Sometimes we immediately assume that something has gone wrong. Sometimes your body is simply processing what your heart has finally become ready to release. Old emotions don't only live in our minds, they live in fascia, muscles, the nervous system. Water holds memory, and the body keeps score. Your physical vessel may simply be saying, we're finally safe enough to let this go. Meet your body with compassion. Hydrate, rest, stretch, ground, love yourself through it. Sign 4. Becoming extra sensitive to the noise. Has the grocery store suddenly become too much? Crowded restaurants, televisions, loud conversations, maybe even people chewing? Welcome. You're becoming more energetically discerning. When the nervous system becomes highly attuned, chaos feels chaotic because you're aware. Protect your peace. Noise-canceling headphones became one of my favorite tools. Rain sounds, 528 hertz, classical music, nature sounds, silence. You can choose the frequencies that nourish your field. I've actually curated Starseed and Lightworker and channeled playlists of high vibe, high frequency music available here on YouTube as well. You can find that in my playlist section. Remember, everything is frequency, including conversations, including media, including the people that you spend your time around. Sign 5. You begin craving solitude. Suddenly, everyone feels loud, busy, which is not productive. You love people, but you also desperately want to be alone. This isn't isolation. It's recalibration. Every phone call, every text, every conversation, every environment requires energetic output. Sometimes Spirit lovingly removes us from constant stimulation so we can hear our own inner voice again. Even 15 quiet minutes can completely regulate the system. Stillness isn't loneliness. It's sacred. Sign 6. Your gut begins changing. I'm a mystic's mystic. who enjoys listening to other human guides and the guidance that their spirit team offers. In all of my witnessing, I've heard maybe one other soul talk about this, but they should, because many people are experiencing excessive gas, bloating, digestive changes. Foods your body loved last month suddenly making you feel awful. Or maybe your appetite completely changes. Maybe you begin naturally eating less, or craving fresh foods, or losing interest in processed foods altogether. Our gut is often called our second brain. As consciousness shifts, many people notice the body asking for different fuel. Listen without judgment. Don't force yourself to eat because the clock on the wall says that you should. Don't shame yourself if your body suddenly wants something different than it's used to. The body is incredibly intelligent. Trust its wisdom. You may find yourself wanting to eat more fresh fruit, yogurts, cutting out the bread. There's several things. Maybe you're leaving the meat behind. Trust yourself. Follow it. See how you feel. 7, your entire system becomes much more sensitive. Not just your gut, everything. Supplements that you used to take. Maybe a glass of wine you used to have with dinner. Medication has become overwhelming. Caffeine, you may develop sensitivities. Possibly sugar no longer interests you. Your hygienes and cleaning and personal products, the artificial scents. Your mind becomes less tolerant of what creates inflammation. Your body becomes less tolerant for what creates inflammation. You notice more quickly what lifts your frequency as well as what lowers it. This isn't any type of punishment. It's refinement. As your consciousness expands, your discernment expands. You begin realizing that your system is not designed to consume everything. Not physically, not mentally, and not emotionally. Choose carefully. Your field is becoming more coherent. Protect it. Nourish it. Sign 8. Your relationship with food completely changes. Have you opened your refrigerator lately? Looked at foods that you've loved your entire life and suddenly thought, I don't want any of this. Maybe bread doesn't appeal to you anymore. Heavy meals suddenly leave you exhausted. Sugar feels overwhelming. Highly processed foods don't quite break down the way that they used to. Things don't even smell good anymore. Now you find yourself craving fruit, fresh veggies, living foods, water, simple meals. Your appetite may even change completely. Some days you may be ravenous, and some days you may eat barely enough to feed a bird. Listen to your body. As the body becomes more sensitive, it also becomes more honest. You'll often notice very quickly which foods leave you energized and which foods leave you lethargic or feeling dense. There's no judgment here. There is no golden standard that everyone is measured by. It's about awareness of your own system. Food carries information. The more coherent your system becomes, the easier it becomes to recognize what supports your field and what doesn't. Trust your body. It has been communicating with you your entire life. Perhaps now you're simply quiet enough to hear what it's saying. Sign 9. Synchronicities become your new language. This one is my favorite because it's the moment that many people stop wondering whether they're imagining everything or if this is the real deal. The universe begins whispering back. You think of someone and they call. You keep seeing repeating numbers. You overhear a stranger talking to a friend, and it's exactly what you needed to hear. You wake up with a song that is a message from your spirit guides. The perfect book falls off the shelf and opens at the exact passage you need. Coincidences? Doesn't exist here, friend. Luck? No such thing. Guidance? Probably so. I don't spend much time trying to convince anyone which it is. I simply remain grateful. Because one thing I've noticed, the more still I become, the more these moments seem to happen. It's as though spirit has always been speaking. My awareness simply became refined enough to hear, refined enough to recognize the conversation before accessing the ability to join in. Synchronicities aren't there to control your life or tell you which way to go. They're invitations, little winks from the universe, reminding you, keep going. You're paying attention. You're exactly where you need to be. The more I trust them, the more they seem to appear. Not because the universe suddenly started speaking, but because I finally started listening. There's nothing to fear. You're not falling apart. You're actually clearing and creating the space to hold more light. Remember, don't fight it. Fall into it. The more we resist change, the louder the body often becomes. The more we surrender, the more coherent we become. To me, 5D isn't about escaping this world. It's about remembering who we are while living fully in it. It's allowing love to become our default. Presence to become our home. Discernment to become our compass. And peace to become our nervous system's resting place. If you're experiencing several of these signs, take a deep breath. There's nothing wrong with you. You're not broken. You're definitely not crazy. You're becoming more aware. And awareness changes everything. Awareness without action changes nothing. The invitation isn't to fear these experiences. It's to meet them with curiosity, to listen, to slow down, to regulate your nervous system instead of fighting your body. Because the more your system settles, the easier it becomes to hear the quiet voice that's been guiding you all along. Being in 5D isn't about escaping Earth. It's about bridging it and bringing more love, more presence, more coherence, and more consciousness into every moment that you live here. If this episode resonated with you, I'd love to hear from you. Comment below. Which sign have you experienced the most? Which one caught you the most off guard? And if you know someone who's been wondering why they suddenly feel so different, share this video with them. It might be exactly the reassurance they needed today. If you'd like to continue healing your nervous system in real time with our community, be sure to explore the Activate Your Magic series and the accompanying Rose Code field notes linked below. Until next time, remember, one love, one light, one mission. I'm Sarah Sigma, and this is What the Frequency, where remembering is sacred, healing is rebellion, and love is the frequency that never fades.